Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video than one you've seen on the channel before. As many of you probably noticed, I did not go to SHOT Show 2022. However, there were a lot of people that I wanted to speak with and see products from at SHOT Show 2022, and we're going to be trying that still, again, in a slightly different way. So I'm going to be joined today by Chris from HRT Tactical. We have already tested out one of their plate carriers here on the channel before. However, they had a lot of cool stuff coming out at SHOT Show, and I wanted to still give them an opportunity to show you guys who follow this channel what kind of stuff they're working on, what is coming in the future, and a little bit more about what is going on in their world. So, Chris, really quick, tell us who you are, how long you've been with the company, what you do there, whatever you feel comfortable going into.
Sure. I've been with HRT Tactical Gear since before they were HRT Tactical Gear, and that goes back to 2011 timeframe when they were still working as a training company. Kind of been working with them on and off, but my current position is to work as a branding manager. That basically details my job is to go out, find possible future talents that we can send gear out for reviews, start working on social media campaigns for advertisements, advise, take gear, test it, figure out the best way to try to get it into the hands of who we really want to get it into. And that includes everything from law enforcement, responsible civilians, as well as people in the military if they want to look at something that's just outside of what the military purview usually goes for. And most of our kit is dual design, so it's kind of got the ability to work in a law enforcement as well as a military capacity. And we've sent plenty of gear out to people that are in the military that prefer to run our plate carriers over what they're either issued or what options are available for what they're being told that they have the ability to use. So,
Sure.
but yeah, I'm super happy to be with HRT. It's been kind of a fun road to get to where we're at today. So.
Cool. Well, and to your point there, with a lot of people opting to use your stuff instead, it makes sense after, again, having some experience with the plate carriers that I've used from you guys. The modularity and the feature set that you guys kind of provide for those, I think makes it adaptable to pretty much any role out there. And your guys' bread and butter is definitely, or at least the thing that people are going to know you for, is your tactical nylon gear. However, I think one of the coolest things that I saw announced at SHOT Show, just kind of in general, is the new lights you guys are working on. The spec sheet on those was pretty dang impressive. It has some interesting features that at least I haven't seen before in the tactical weapon light world. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the new lights you guys have coming?
So this is going to be a dual build between HRT Tactical Gear and Valhalla Tactical. Valhalla is known for the Rook mount. They're also known for the Boulder light body, and that's what this body is built off of. The initial design that we're going to be putting to market is going to be M-LOK specific, but the tail cap is really what caught most of the attention at SHOT Show, and that's because it's got the ODA. So that is the omnidirectional activator. You can push in, you can push to the left, you can push to the right, you can push down on it 360 degrees, and it's going to be able to activate the push button. So instead of having to work your way into where the push button is and just hoping you've got good traction on it, this sticks out more than enough, and it kind of bridges the gap between the push button as well as a pressure pad. Moving up from the body, we'll get to the head. So we're still in the T&E stage on the head. What we took to SHOT was up to about 90,000 candela and about 1,700 lumens. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we're going to do with our final, because we did get some feedback. We are making a few adjustments on it, but we promise it is going to be some massive candela, massive lumens, for those that do want that ability to throw, and it's going to be able to have this complete package, including the tail, the body, as well as the head. The other interesting thing about the light is we're looking at about an 18350 battery for the small bodies. The long bodies are going to be able to use the 18650s or the CR123As. Reason being why the long body will be able to use the CR123s is you still have to be able to get more than 3.0 volts to activate the head. And a lot of people have questioned, well, how easy is it to activate the ODA? So it's not just something that you're going to accidentally activate. It does take an actual purposeful movement to conscious effort to activate the light.
Cool. Now, since I know anytime we're talking about lights and anything like that, especially ones that have the numbers you're listing, 1700 lumens, 90,000 candela, which I know is subject to change. But anytime we're talking about tactical lights, are the heads going to be interchangeable with any other brands out there, or is it going to be specific to this?
That is an excellent question. And the answer is currently right now, the heads are going to be built to be surefire threaded. And the interesting thing about the light that we're going to come to market with is the tail is going to be the exact same size as the head threads. So it will be reversible. So if you take the tail off, you can remove the head, and then you can put the tail on this side and the head on this side. So if you're a right-handed shooter, that way you can run it so that you can kind of get into a C-clamp. And because it runs very, very tight to the side of the rail, it's going to be very similar to the way that a pressure pad would run. And it's going to be very easy to access that light engagement point on the ODA.
Interesting. Yeah, because, personally, I've been kind of moving away from tape switches. I always either find myself accidentally NDing the light or having to put my hand into a weird position just because of the length of my guns. However, this seems interesting because it'll allow you, like, say, me as a right-handed person, if I can have the light on the right-hand side of the gun and be able to reach over the top doing the C-clamp thing and be able to tap, horizontally into the light to activate it, that's going to be a lot easier than trying to get behind a button and push forward if it's on my dominant side from where my non-dominant hand is.
And it's also capable of activating if you put it on the right side of the weapon or the left-hand side. I shoot right-handed, and I was able to set it up. However, the question will be, how long is your rail going to be, possibly depending on which side of the rail that you might want to run it on.
Sure.
So those who are running a 14-plus inch rail, it'll be easy to activate on the left-hand side or even the right-hand side. But the other thing to think about is what size body that you would want. And there's a lot of small little things that we're still finalizing with the light, and we're hoping to have the final testing products in-house in a couple of days to a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So then it's going to immediately move into durability testing. The ones that we took to SHOT, those were good opportunities for us to figure out if we had any issues with the circuitry, if we had any issues with the ODA system, the tail caps, and we got really good feedback on it. So right now, we think we're in a really good place. We're looking at a possible May to June release. Now, I'm keeping this conditional because I know a lot of companies will come out and say, hey, look, we're definitely hitting the market at this time. No, our plan is to try to hit the market around a May, June timeframe. And this is quite a few things we got to make sure that happen first. One, durability tests do occur so that way when we do get it out on the market, we can say, hey, this is the durability test that we use. This is what it's designed to stand up to. And then we can start working on the Gen 2, which can be a slightly different head version, or if we need to make some adjustments to the ODA, we can work with Valhalla to possibly do that as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of good progress that we've made, and we've come a long way from 2021. So I know a lot of people were like, man, COVID was killing everything. However, on the R&D side, it was kind of nice because we were able to get a lot of stuff done just because there wasn't really a lot going on in certain places in 2021 as well. So.
Now, the question I know everyone in your position dreads, and I'm not going to hold you to anything here, but do you have an approximate price that you expect these to be hitting the market at?
I'm glad you asked. From the last time that you and I had a chance to talk, we did get some numbers pushed, and we're looking at trying to get it out at about $325.
Okay.
And the reason why we're going at about $325 is because it's going to be a completely capable house system, all the way where it has activation switch plus an incredible head option. And the body is completely reversible, so you can run it low, you can run it high, you can switch sides. very, very ambidextrous to be used in many different ways. And if you want to switch out with maybe Surefire or Surefire compatible options, it's going to be there. Because if you look at the price of what a Surefire is with just the pressure switch on the back, you're looking at anywhere between $235 on sale all the way up to about $280, depending on where you buy it from. Sure. The moment you start getting into pressure pads and other things like that, you're looking at just a little bit over $450 to $500, depending on the tail cap that you wanted to invest in, as well as the pressure pad switch that you invest in. So we do believe that it is going to be a deal when people get a chance to see it. So we'll just have to let the dice drop where they're going to drop. So
sure, fair enough. Well, definitely something I'm excited for. 1,700 lumens, 90,000 candela. I know on at least the testing
and like
side
I
so
said,
far.
Those are just preliminary numbers.
Sure.
We are making some small changes. They could be a little bit less. They could be a little bit more. We're still working with the chip right now. Once we get everything said and done, we get the spill to match up where we want the throw to be, then we can actually start talking about the numbers. But the head that we did bring to SHOT, those were roughly the numbers that we were able to attain on a fresh battery. Obviously, these are fresh battery numbers. But yeah, we are looking at making some small adjustments, but we guarantee that anything that's got heavy throw on the market, we're definitely going to be competitive with those units.
Cool. And again, good to see that market is getting more options, and again, especially ones with interesting new features that we haven't seen before. So setting the electronic stuff aside, going back into, again, what people know you for, tactical nylon gear, what are some of the things you guys have been working on that front?
So we've got a few things that we were able to release at SHOT Show. So one of the options that we did show there was the LVAC. So the LVAC is going to be our new 3rd gen plate carrier option. If you look at the front, you'll see that it looks very similar to a Hrac, except once you get to the top where the shoulder pads run into the plate bag, that's where we started to make some changes. Instead of using the single clip, we moved to the mini rock buckles, and it's going to come with the mini rock buckles for quick detach from the shoulders. The other thing is going to be the addition of a rigid cummerbund system. We're going to be using mini rock buckles as well for the connecting points. And we're going to be using a material carbon fiber called Tegris. And what that's going to do is, because of the way it's going to be ran, it's going to run to the front of the plate carrier, to the middle of the rear of the plate carrier. So it's going to have that ability to carry extra weight on the side, as well as, let me open this up a little bit. On the back is where we're going to see a significant change from our old models. Pull this one down as well. You're going to be able to see that the rear is going to have a rigid insert here that is going to allow for an easier distribution of weight when carrying. I've been running this style for about 5 months now, doing as much of a workout as I can with it, as well going to the range and shooting. One thing that I definitely like is we have widened out the shoulder pads. That's going to make it a little bit more weight distribution across the shoulders. The Hrac is great, but I will be honest, I definitely am loving the way that the LVAC carries plates. So I've been running my level 4s, and I've even put steel in there, done workouts with it, had no issues at all, and I can't really make out a significant difference in the weight between that and a level 3 inside of the Hrac. So it definitely helps distribute the weight much better. On the backside, it is going to keep the exact same type of panel attachment system. We're going to be using the multi-zipper system. It's going to allow for both the half panels as well as the full panels. So everything on this one is going to be reverse compatible with everything that we've got inside of our stable of product. That way we're not changing things up and you don't have to buy any special adapters or anything. We're looking at about a $450 to $465 starting price on this. It's going to be our premier carrier. We're looking at probably a summer launch.
Okay.
We're still making a few other small adjustments on it once we got back from SHOT. We're hoping that we'll get the final generation for some R&D testing just on the internal side to make sure it's exactly where we need. But right now we're definitely promising, it's looking good, and we're hoping for about a midsummer release time frame.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for.
Cool. Now you mentioned not needing any adapters on this, but speaking of adapters, that reminded me, you guys now have an adapter system for the Hrac plate carrier as well now, so you can run panels systems on that, correct?
That is correct. One thing that we got a lot of requests for was the ability to run the Hrac or any other 6-loop MOLLE system on the backside to be able to run our panel systems. So we basically went to the engineers and the guys that do a lot of the design stuff, and they built out a MOLLE interface, and that's kind of what you see here. It runs on the last MOLLE port here, and if you've got a 6-loop MOLLE system, it will fit all the way to the edge. Now, I don't think there's any 8 out there, but I mean, in theory, we haven't tested it on the 7 or the 5 yet, but we do know with the 5, it's going to be really hard because it's going to be much more compact, and it's just not going to fit flat to it. But we've basically ran it with multiple 6 MOLLE loops, and everything's looking promising.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, and
we haven't had any issues with anything falling apart, and it should be popping up on the website probably around early spring time frame, because that one's already gone through the T&E and R&D and stuff. So should be hitting the market very, very soon.
Cool. And just to articulate, and you can obviously add your 2 cents here since you're going to probably be better at it than I am. The appeal, if you're not running one of the HRT plate carriers and you're just running your standard, like you said, 6 MOLLE slot back panel, the nice thing about running this system is it makes everything exceptionally modular. Like we said at the beginning of the video, or at least I mentioned at the beginning of the video, how people are able to adapt it to really whatever mission set they're doing. Like right now I've got the small admin pouch. I've got a couple of these tearaway pouches. If I wanted to, I can swap this out, put in a hydration bladder with a pack. You can really swap it out to anything, and it's going to be a lot faster to adapt it than it would be trying to thread in traditional MOLLE. So even... It
is, and you've got 3 points of contact, and that's something that we really kind of went back and forth with, is how many points of contact to make sure that the product isn't just going to fall off. Do we want to ensure that it has? So we stuck with 3. We have the 2 loops that go over and connects to, if you're running it on our system, it does have kind of a single loop MOLLE interface that buttons in, plus you've got a Velcro interface to line it up. And then finally, you got the YKK zippers on the side. And that brings everything together so you have a really good, solid, quick on and off option. And you kind of brought up the point that there's both half panels, and we also do offer the options for full panels. We understand everyone's got kind of a different mission set that they need to do, but one thing that's nice, if you don't have to run the weight, you want it on and off as quick as possible.
Right.
So, and that's the reason why so many products in the future, whether it's from us or whether from other companies, is the end user wants something that's going to be fast on and off. They don't want to be spending 20 to 30 minutes trying to loop in multiple MOLLE pieces. Now, is that bad? Not if it's something you're going to be using constantly in and out, and that's the reason why we still have the Hrac. We understand that there is a significant population out there. They have a lot of MOLLE interface pieces, so we still build for that end user. But again, we also build for someone who might just be getting into the game and they want that quick on and off option. So whether it's the Hrac with the interface system or the Hrac and now getting ready to come out with the LVAC. They're all going to be able to use the panel system. So
now, again, speaking of letting people, decide what they need based on their mission set, again, one of the things that I like is the placard system on the front, but they're, especially being prior Air Force myself, I don't like carrying a lot of weight if I don't have to. So I've been getting more into the kind of optional chest rig that I can put over a slick plate carrier. But if I wanted to run those placards, you guys now have an option for that as well, correct?
yes, so all of the new placards, I can't remember the exact date that the small changes went into effect, but they have a loop system where you can attach buckles into the placard system. Then it just uses an air pad to remove the risk of having the Velcro destroy whatever it's connecting to on your clothes, jackets, whatever that's going to be. And we have the H harness that will connect into those buckles. And it makes a very lightweight, very small option to be able to carry kit, but still be mission capable, whether you're doing search and rescue, whether it's, hey, I need something to carry with me when I'm doing a long trip. I think body armor might be a little too crazy for, for this trip. It might be a little too much, but with a chest rig, you can fold it up, you can put it inside of a backpack, and if you need something with quick access to essential gear, then it's there. And the one that we built specifically for the chest rig was the Modulus. So the Modulus is a lot like the Maximus system. It's a little bit shorter, but it still runs all of the exact same inserts that we have. But the two pouches on the front can come off. And I know we've discussed this before, where if you're looking at being able to get as prone as possible, if you don't want to run those front pouches, that's great because it just allows you to get so much lower to the ground. However, if you're like, hey, I'm probably never going to go to the ground in a real world situation that I can think of, then you can definitely attach those pouches on the front. You can run IFAC type gear, or you can run communications type gear, extra batteries, a little bit of food, marking kits, all kinds of stuff. So very similar to the way that the Maximus looks, but more modular. So if you want your zip on the left-hand side, or if you want two zips, you can run that option. If you want two open tops, you have that option. And one thing that we just dropped a very short bit ago is a single AR insert. So if you wanted to run that in that open top pouch, then that's another option to carry extra magazines.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to run 3 across on the back, you could use that for possibly a radio pouch, or you could use it for something of a similar size. So, it's up to the individual end user. More than one way to kind of skin that cat and come up with ideas to really get down to what it is that you think you need in the worst case scenario. Yeah,
well, and I like being given options, and the dangerous part of that is if you don't have a lot of experience, you might use those options in a way that's not optimized, we'll say, but it also makes it easy to change once you actually take some training, realize what you need and what you don't need, and then you can incorporate those lessons into your gear without having to buy a whole new plate carrier or a whole new placard or anything else like that.
But that's the great thing about what you're doing, is you're still seeking that training. You're still trying to find out what you may or may not know. And that's always a positive thing. When people say seek training, it's not always to say how far can you shoot or how quick can you shoot. That can come to a lot of different scenarios. For instance, medical. One other thing that we're going to be adding on to our 2022 is going to be medical kits. So IFAC, we've worked with North American Rescue to build out a very simple but lightweight and very small IFAC. So that will be available on our website in the near future. The tourniquet is going to be sold separately. And that's because the advisement that we were told after discussing was it's a lot easier, because if you want someone that wants just the tourniquet, then you can buy the tourniquet separately, because not everybody is going to want it together. So we're trying to give those two options and make it easier for the end user to decide on what they need. So
perfect. And people,
but it's going to be,
oh, sorry, I was just going to say, people have a lot of preferences when it comes to tourniquets too, depending on what you're doing, depending on what kind of gear you're running. depending on what your anticipated, medical aid is going to be going to. There are some, if you're a K9 handler, you might want a different tourniquet available for that. And it's just really easy to just add on separately, whatever tourniquet you want.
Right. And like I said, we're definitely going to be keeping it simple. Nasal pharyngeal gloves just to protect from any body fluid contamination via the hands. Plus there's going to be chest seals, there's going to be pressure bandages, hemostatic bandages, as well as a survival blanket or a space blanket. Some people may have heard it separate ways. However, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just an aluminum kind of blanket that you can put over you that prevents your body heat from escaping through any of the pores. It's a great thing to have. And one thing that we were able to do at SHOT was to at least get some feedback on the magazine pouch systems that we're looking at releasing for 2022. It's going to be a laser cut system, so that way you can run your pistol magazines on the front, multiple options for attaching to a belt or attaching to a placard, attaching to a MOLLE interface system. You can use malice clips. We were thinking about doing our own build out option for it. But the reason why we were looking for a new magazine pouch option is we were playing around with something that was going to give long-term tension. We think we've got something that's going to work. So the idea is that the way that the bins are set up in this new pouch is eventually every pouch will start to lose its rigidity and its ability to hold something in place. So we've been playing with it, and we think we've got something that's going to be a very useful material, and it is extremely, extremely light. So we're looking at cutting out as much nylon as possible, using gusseted connectors to cut down the weight as much as possible. This is still a T&E design. It's not going to be our final. We have received some feedback from some of the end users as well as people at SHOT. Thank you guys for the feedback. Don't think that just because, we're kind of brain dead on Friday that we're not paying attention. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to this release as well as the pistol magazine release. And we get a lot of questions, more so on the law enforcement side, but not to mention some people on the civilian side and even people on the military side have said, hey, look, I've been running your plate carrier. Do you guys have some other way to carry rigid plates on the side for ballistic capacity? So this year we are going to be releasing our side plates. We're not sure exactly when this is going to come out, but it's probably going to come out right around the same time as the LVAC because these were specifically designed to be ran on the inside of the cummerbund with the LVAC, but they also run the exact same way with the 2-band cummerbunds that we have, and they can be attached to the external side of the 3-band. So 3 systems that can all use this. Forgive the shot cord on here. We were just playing around with some new things for this one. But we are going to be releasing a caddy system. This is designed to fit everything from batteries to shotgun shells. And considering we do have a significant amount of Velcro on our system, you can run this on the upper chest area. You can run this on the front of the Maximus. You can run this on the Modulus. It's really up to the end user. And the other thing that we're trying to play with right now is thinking outside of the box. If it's built for one thing, then obviously there's going to be uses just outside of what those initial intentions were. But I'm going to save the last coup de grace for the last piece. For those that are looking for an option for carrying their breaching tools, we did learn our lesson from 2019-2020 trying to build out the assault panel. And we got a lot of good ideas from it, but we looked at going just a little bit smaller. Let me get the bolt cutters out. So first things first, on the back side where this is going to attach, it will attach to the back of the rack. It will attach to the back of the LVAC. Unfortunately, this will not fit with the Hrac at the moment. It's only going to have the Velcro interface as well as the two little MOLLE tabs. However, on the opposite side, once you do get this attached, it will run your panel interfaces on this side here. Another thing that we wanted to do was, why have a bunch of material hanging out of the bottom that can get snagged if it doesn't need to? So we made it so that you could set your drop length to the size that you need. So it enrolls to fit a pretty decent sized tool. However, you can definitely roll it up, and it's got buttons along the way. And then you can set it to carry a smaller tool. Some people, if they're running bolt cutters, they're not running the largest bolt cutters out there, so they want a multiple size option, and that's what this is going to do. It's going to give you that different size option, whether it's for running your hammer, for breeching, whether it's for cutting bolts or locks or chains, whatever element that you think you might need it for. We've been definitely working on this one for quite some time, and we got a lot of feedback. And I think everybody that was involved with that, thank you for giving us the feedback. And for those that will hopefully get a chance to run it for us in the future, give us as much feedback as you can as well, because we can't make these products any better if we're just living in a bubble. So, and we're not afraid to get feedback, even if it's not the feedback we were hoping for. We try to be as thick-skinned as possible, because we know that we can't make something better if we're afraid of taking criticism. So,
well, my immediate feedback is it's not the size of the bolt cutters that matters; it's how you use them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, cool. So, any other items you wanted to cover? Looks like you guys have a lot of stuff coming out.
Well, that's what happens when there's no SHOT Show in 2021. You just say, hey, we're going to push some of these small items over. All jokes aside, though, we are looking at getting a few new products out, just so you can kind of get an idea of some of the feedback that people have asked for. People have asked for rigid inserts. I'm not saying more than it is on our drawing board. We are looking at it. It's not something that has gone unanswered. Just please understand, we're trying to do it. It takes a little bit of time to get things tested out, because once you get something built, you still have to get it into people's hands. You have to let people run it, because the last thing you want is when your release day hits, it just falls apart in the customer's hands. And that's not the kind of company that we want to be. So we do have to do the internal, then we can get it out to some testing and evaluators, and we just say, hey, tear it up to the best of your ability. And to cover one thing that we talked about before, we do have a warranty on all of our kit. So we have a lifetime warranty. Please understand that lifetime warranty is only for normal usage. So if you're taking a knife and you're just kind of slicing down on the kit, we're probably going to be able to tell the difference from it. But if it's not one of those issues, we will definitely, I promise we will definitely cover it. We can send out a new piece. The only thing that we're going to ask, please send us the other piece back. We really want to know why, whatever damage it was, why it may have failed, so that we can build the kit that much stronger in the future. So.
Cool. And I think that's a really important thing, because a lot of times people will get this really nice, expensive kit that they've seen online. They see people who recommend I use, like, John Lovell, I know at Warrior Post Society recommends this stuff. So they get this stuff, but they spend a pretty penny on it, and they don't exactly want to get out there and aggressively use it. And the reality is, if you want to be competent with this stuff, if you want to be comfortable with this stuff, you really got to get out there and use it, and then not being afraid to get it damaged, knowing that there's that warranty there if you do get it to the point where it's not serviceable, is just a good thing to have in the back of your mind, and hopefully encourage people to actually get out there and use their stuff.
And one of the fastest ways to get out and use your kit is to do workouts in your kit. And I don't mean that as, hey, do this because that's what all the cool tactical guys do. No, it's one of the fastest ways to learn where your burn points are going to be. So if you're not wearing kit pretty regularly, do a workout in it. I know that Memorial Day is just a couple months away. If you don't think you can do a full Murph, hey, set your goals on maybe a quarter Murph or a half Murph or something like that. Those are great ways to also help break in the kit to kind of give you an idea where the strong points of it are and try to show, hey, wow, these shoulder straps are great, or hey, maybe these plates are a little bit too heavy for what I'm going for. Maybe I should downsize. And that's not to say that anybody's using substandard materials or anything like that. It's just do stuff in your kit, or you're not going to figure out what areas you don't like about it and how you can better it. So.
Yeah, and I ran into that. I'm doing some testing on another plate carrier right now, and I was doing a workout in it, and I found out, okay, my adjustments on this cummerbund are a little too tight, because when I was just standing around doing something normal, didn't notice anything, but once I was breathing heavy and noticing that, now I felt it constricting that breathing a little bit, and it's just gonna allow you to better fit it to your body.
Exactly, but all in all. We just want to say thank you to all the subscribers over at OreGear, and to thank you for all that you're doing for the industry. Great work, and we're glad to work with you. And as we discussed on our previous conversation, we're going to be sending some new kit out in your direction, probably in March timeframe. And we're definitely looking forward to hearing any feedback you might have about it. So
cool. Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And again, with all the stuff that we talked about, obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff being released here in 2022 and, in the future. If people watching this video want to stay on top of product releases, product announcements, changes, anything like that, where can they do that?
That's an excellent question. We do have a significant presence on Instagram and YouTube now. As of January 2022, we started a new series called Table Talk, and it's basically partners and employees at HRT coming together to kind of give ideas to the end users on the way that we run our gear. Also, ways to think outside of the box. Some of these products have dual use. And if you see something that you like, feel free to run with it. Also, feel free to leave us comments. That way, if you have any questions, we'll do everything in our power to try to find those questions and get answers for it. But probably the easiest way to reach out to us is at our official Instagram account at HRT Tactical Gear. And if you've got just an offshoot question and you don't want to have to go through the process of possibly getting lost in the chain of messages, you can just reach out to HRT Crispy, which is my IG handle, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. So
cool. Well, again, I really appreciate your time, and I would encourage anyone watching this video, if you do have questions, again, follow any of the links down in the description. I'll also have a link to one of those videos that he mentioned in the pinned comments, so definitely take a look there. But feel free to throw comments in the comment section here. I'll try to answer as best as I can, but I'll also, if I see anything, I'll send it over to Chris or one of the other guys over there and see if I can get an answer for you. Yeah, send it to me, and what
I'll do, I'll be glad to get an answer for him, and then that way we can try to fulfill as many of the questions as that comes your way that you can't answer. Be glad to.
Cool. All right, awesome. And guys, just a peek behind the curtain here, Chris has been super, I guess, generous in his time to make a format video like this work. We've been doing a lot of, I guess, troubleshooting, testing is a good way to put it, to try to make a video format like this one work. So definitely let me know what you think of this style of video. If it's something you guys like, it's hopefully something we can do a little bit more often. Give us an opportunity to pick the brains of industry professionals, people at different companies, and also take a look at products coming out. So again, Chris, I really do appreciate your time and willingness to help us out here. Like I said, everyone watching the video, go ahead and take a look down in the description and in the pinned comment for more information. But anyway, with all that being said, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.